It's all about that star power.
Stay tuned because you know Reec is going to have one of your favorite stars with him today.
Stay tuned.
That's right, man. We are back at it. You know what it is. It's Thursday. Your boy Reec right here with you, man. It's usually Free Game Friday, but today we're going to get some free game from these brothers right here. They living that 40-acre and a mule dream. We just kind of talked about it off air a little bit. But if you're just tuning in to the Reec Show Live, I want to welcome our very special guests, the brothers that are, upholding it down in Meadow, Georgia. We got to find out where that is. I have no idea what it is, but they holding it down, man. The Green Toe Hemp Farm is in the building and live right here on the Reec Show. What's going on, fellas?
All right, how you doing?
Hey.
I'm doing well. We actually interviewed someone from the Agricultural Commission, and he's running for commissioner, right? And he was talking about how it's good to see people of color getting back into growing and doing things like that, and getting back to bringing things from the ground up. And I see you guys are doing it in a huge way, going from 17 acres to almost 40 in less than 24 months, which is commendable. You know what I mean? Extremely commendable. So I just want to give you guys, hit the hype bell for that. And we're going to talk to you all in a second and kind of bring you guys to the forefront, introduce you guys. We got the CEO, Reginald Reec, and we got his partner, Dwayne Hirsch. Y'all got the gear on. I see the H's and everything on the clothes and all of that. I love the branding. The Green Toe Hemp Farm is live on Reec Radio, man. Talk to me a little bit about how the heck did you get into hemp farming, and what made you go on and grab these acres and get busy?
Wow. Well, I'll start. Hit your mute there, man. You know, so we'll get that feedback. So for me, you can hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you great.
For me, coming out of corporate America, I spent years as an executive, and one of the challenges I had was I had issues with my hips, my spine. I had major surgery in those areas. So the doctors had me on opioids for the longest. I was on hydrocodone, I was on morphine, and some other kind of muscle relaxer for the longest period. And even to this day, I can get unlimited prescriptions of that. And it got to the point that I really had an addiction to that. I couldn't get off of it, right? And that thing had me feeling like a zombie. And so somebody introduced me to CBD oil, and it was a CBD oil that actually allowed me to get off of those opioid prescriptions. And it was a remarkable thing. And I knew from that, I had to study that plant and figure out what that was. Because I really didn't, coming out of corporate America, most of my adult life, I didn't know much about, hemp or cannabis. Mm-hmm. And so I spent the year traveling all over the country, meeting with growers and processors and getting certifications, learning about the business of hemp and the plant itself. And once I'd done all that traveling and research, I realized this is something that I need to go into business and do, because people need to know about this. This is something that could be a game changer for people's health and wellness. And ultimately, that's how we ended up starting a company. And then I knew I needed a great partner, and I consulted Dwayne, and we came together, and I said, hey, we got a farm out in Meadow, Georgia. He didn't know where Meadow was at. We went there.
I still don't.
Pulled up, and it was nothing but grass and weeds.
Wow.
And we had one tractor in a 40-foot container. That was it.
Gotcha. Not the weeds you wanted. Just
right,
the weeds.
Right. Not that way. Right. And no electricity, no water, no nothing. So we had to build that whole infrastructure out. And from there, we made history, ultimately becoming the first license in the state of Georgia, and been growing our company ever since then.
Wow, first license. That's another hype bell moment. I'm gonna be hitting this thing a lot. I already know. This is one of those interviews. Man, I have a few questions off of that, and a one quick statement. You said you got into it because of the medicinal properties. I heard Al Harrington talk about that with his Viola brand. He said he wanted to turn it into a business because his grandmother was suffering from an eye disease, and she was in pain every day. And she's a church-going woman. She wasn't gonna hit that reefer. That's what she said. That's what she said. You know, but he finally convinced her to try it medicinally because she was on all these different medications. He said he gave it to her. I'm quoting him from an interview I heard. He gave it to her. She was in that room for an hour or two. Came out, hugged him so hard. She's like, "Baby, I can see, and it don't hurt no more." So it sounded like you kind of had that epiphany moment too, and it made you want to share that with other people.
That's right. And we see that every day and hear that every day from our current customers, right? Because one thing that the game changer is we produce a great organically grown product. So you're going to get the results where, unfortunately, in the past, people would take a CBD product that they would get from other places, and it was not the quality level that you would expect. So they didn't see results or the expected results from that. So now when they take our product, they get something that they've never experienced before. And they get that direct medicinal wellness solution that they should be getting. And that's why, Dwayne and I are just totally committed to growing the best quality plants out there so we can produce the best quality products.
That's crazy. How do you get to that? Like, what is there? I know there has to be some type of science behind it or engineering. I just had a great conversation with a brother who was talking about being able to do things hydroponically and putting minerals directly back into everything that's grown. So I'm sure you guys are getting into that type of science as well.
So you want to know the science of how it's grown?
Yeah, you got a little echo going, but you sound like you about to jump in and tell me everything I need to know. I want to make sure it's clear for the audience, man. You might have to turn your volume down just a little bit. But yeah, you don't have to tell it. You don't have to tell us the secret sauce, but you can tell us, just sprinkle a little bit of knowledge.
Right. So the way we grow on a what you would call a raised bed drip irrigation system. For anybody that knows farming, they may understand what that means. For those who don't, it just means it refers to the way that we feed the plants water from under the ground in drips versus watering them from the top.
Yeah.
And this is how we would grow it outside. But we also use a machine that does a 5-in-1 job. Essentially, it raises the bed, it lays the drip tape, it lays the plastic mulch over that. And it also fumigates the soil under there as we wait and then plant and then go into our first nutritional feedings for the plants. So that process, that's how we do it outdoors in general. And then we just started and harvested the very first of our indoor grow. And that is absolutely outstanding. It's done in shipping containers. That's the most I can tell you about that. You can see it for yourself. Well, we come see it for yourself now.
I'm coming. I'm coming. I appreciate that information. I know a lot of people want to know, and this is some interesting stuff. Not because of what you're growing, it's that you're growing on different levels. You're talking about a business level, two brothers coming together. We don't hear these stories. We need to hear them, especially during this month. You know what I mean? We're talking about doing something that can help the community and take a stigma off of two different things at one time. When you talk about hemp and you're talking about black men. So we appreciate you guys being able to share that story. And in the shipping containers, it reminds me of a movie I saw recently. We talk about that off air. But man, this is really interesting information, especially for me, because I like if you guys know, just follow my social media, you've seen I raise backyard chickens, and it's becoming a fun thing. But now that I'm seeing you guys, I'm looking for acres myself, and I see you guys that have almost 40 acres, 38.5 acres, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, how did you guys able to expand that?
You say how we were able to expand it just because the land next door became available to us. A little bit of a long story, but it became available to us. It wasn't available when we first got there. Literally next door. Magically, and we say by God's hand and help, became available to us, and it was presented to us at a price that was reasonable and not something that, say, well, you're growing this stuff, so we want more money. So it was comfortable, and we were able to, something that we were blessed to be able to do at the time that it came available. And because of that, we can really expand our operation a lot further.
That's beautiful. Because of the product, do you run into those types of conversations where either people try to jack up the price or they're hesitant on lending their business help? Or because I see you have some great partnerships, but I can imagine maybe some of the conversations are tough on the front side.
Yeah, sometimes we ask people now, like, do they really know what we do? Just to make sure that they don't have any conscientious or moral objections still hanging around for that. So we try to make sure that we address that up front with anybody. We get a little bit of static from like banking entities and stuff like that, say point of sale systems and credit card processors, but we've landed on the ones that work for us, and that's going pretty well right now. Outside of that, just with other vendors, most people are not objectionable. You'd be surprised, we recently hosted the principal and the after-school teacher from the local high school here.
Wow.
We've hosted people that and had people in this conversation that you would never expect would engage in, but now, because everybody now understands it as a method of wellness that people can be happy to take versus the pills and the other medicine you hate to take, then they're becoming more open to coming out, seeing it, and learning about what it really is. And that's what we're doing actually here today with some folks you might not expect to be here.
Yeah, that's awesome, and people are tuned in right now. They're saying this is a very hot topic. They appreciate you guys coming in and speaking about it. I see, like you said, some partnerships you wouldn't imagine. You got a partnership with Georgia Southern University and just working with local schools, like you just said, to kind of give them a different idea of the knowledge of what's going on, what you guys are doing. And it's becoming legal around the world, really. And then on top of that, if it's done the right way, from what my research I've shown, I'm sure you guys see the same thing, it's a much less hazardous drug to people than opioids.
Oh, absolutely. And so I'll give you an inside scoop, Reece, for you and your listeners.
Y'all listen up.
We're in an office doing this interview at the Georgia Southern University Incubator, Agricultural Incubator here in Metter, but we are hosting a meeting with the lean manufacturing team from Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech is here to come down and study our operation to help us to learn how to better improve the efficiency of what we manufacture, which includes high volume pre-roll production and packaging. It's soon to include gummies and chocolates and hard candies, baked carts, and other products that we'll be packaging. And so they're coming in to lend their expertise to show us basically how to do all of that better. And you'd be surprised to know how fascinated they are to see how we make home joints and learn about how you can make 15,000, 20,000 of these in a day, and that demand actually even exists. So they're here right now. When this interview is over, we're going to go back, meet with them, and smile some more. But they say the same thing. They're fascinated by it, and they understand it. People understand this in ways that you wouldn't expect, because I always say everybody has a relationship with cannabis on some level. Even if you never smoked it, you had a contact, or you had a friend or somebody who you saw get better in a way because of it, even if it was only at the party or whatever event you went to. So now that comes into the collegiate community and the scholarly community, then you're going to start seeing more people kind of get past those old hypocrisies and start to really say, okay, this stuff is worth looking at. The medical community is already standing behind it in different sectors, and now you have the educational and the scholar community coming out. And these are not just professorial scholars; these are manufacturing experts who understand that the future of manufacturing in America is going to be built around hemp and cannabis.
Let's break that down too for those that may not understand the difference between the two. What is the difference? Because you guys obviously started in hemp, and now that things are becoming legalized and now you can get a license to do certain things, you're moving into the cannabis world. Well, have moved into it. And I don't want to disrespect what you're doing at all, or make it small, because it's huge. What name the difference between the two of hemp and cannabis?
It is no difference. The difference is it's all hemp to begin with. Okay.
Till it's not.
Right.
Talk to me.
Hemp is the cannabis sativa plant. Okay. And so currently they use the term cannabis to refer to medical and recreational adult use legal markets.
Okay.
They use the term cannabis for that, and then hemp is typically on the CBD side, and then on the industrial side that you all will see coming full steam ahead in textiles, clothing, building, and thus and so.
I got a couple shirts.
Yep.
I understand. I understand. So I'm assuming that hat came from a hemp.
No, but I have this nice, really nice book bag here that's 100% hemp. It's waterproof and water resistant. Yeah.
So you're able to take those plants and turn them into a gummy to help somebody sleep or lower anxiety, and on the other side of the spectrum, you're able to get book bags to kids or whoever.
Yeah, and there's some differences in the process of how that all works, but in reality, yes, it's a full life cycle plant. You can take everything in the room around you and everything that you're wearing and that's inside your body right now, and it all can be either benefited by, replaced by, or serviced by hemp and cannabis on some level.
I got you. Quick thing.
Hey, I want to, when they when the government banned hemp over 80 years ago, they used to use it for medicinal purposes back then. When the government banned it, medical conditions and issues in humanity skyrocketed. I mean, it went straight up, right? So what happens now is you're going to start seeing a lot of solutions to medical issues, people with fewer medical issues now, because now it's back available for people to utilize so that you can get the medicinal wellness from something that's actually designed for the body. I encourage people to Google and study the endocannabinoid system and understand that our bodies were built with the cannabinoid system, which is what the hemp is, right? So hemp was created for our body, total, right? Okay. But God created it for our body. Man took it away, right? So you see the contrast.
Yeah. I was just talking to an educator about that, about something very similar. A lot of people learn a certain way, and because of that, the education system was changed. So you have to have longer. You have to stay longer in the education system, which is a money thing. That's and I can kind of see that too with this industry. You see so many great medicinal purposes with it. That it may lighten some people's pockets who've been getting money a long time. When it comes down to it in this country, have you guys ran into any pushback from some of these bigger corporations? Because you kind of creating a solution, and sometimes that's not good in the medical field.
Well, the pushback is invisible in the sense that it comes in ways that we can't see the hand that's pushing it. Yeah. So some of the fact that all of this has advanced so slowly through the ecosystem, if you will. So we've all been waiting for the FDA, for instance, to write the rules to make CBD legal for dietary supplement consumption, which will allow it to go on the shelves as CBD oil and CBD edibles, for instance, in your Walgreens and Walmarts of the world.
Right.
The fact that they have not done that yet, you could call that pushback, because they basically have sat on their heels on something that they know is going to have a major impact. And I think they're working, or maybe not working to slow that down, but comfortable with the fact that it's moving so slowly. So California decided to circumvent that and created their own law that will allow us to do that starting later this year, to sell those products in mainstream retailers throughout the state of California. So you're going to see that start to push its way around the country. And corporations are all about their best interest. One thing you're not going to get from a lot of corporations, you get moral opposition. But if their ability to earn exceeds moral opposition, then they'll just put a PR campaign on there to turn that tide and then offer it to everyone. That's how corporations are going to operate that way. They'll stay back now and try to keep their hands like this, but when the time is right, they'll work to start to change that perception, help it change, so they can benefit from it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's the American way. We didn't invent it. I definitely understand that. Right now, we're talking to those on the radio side. We appreciate you tuning in. We're talking to the Green Toad Hemp Farm, and these brothers right here are changing the way of hemp, especially in the southern hemisphere. But you just talked about stuff going on in California. I do want to talk about that because I had a cousin, right, that I call a brother, who was using the cheat code, the African American cheat code. you know, before all of this stuff was legal, you know, and he was trying to make money off of his own small business, except it involved marijuana. and because of that, you know, he had to serve some time in prison. He did 10 years in prison, and then to be able to see what he went through, and he's good now, out doing his thing now, but looking at what you guys are doing it legally, man, I just want to say, hit the hype bell for that, because you're doing something that, once again, they said it is not supposed to be done. It's not for us. And when I was talking to that commissioner, he was telling me sometimes these laws and these licenses weren't given to people of color. So looking at you guys, let's talk about that a little bit too, because you have a huge operation. You're doing it at a multi-level way, and you were able to get those licenses. Did you run into any blocks, or what was that process like for you guys?
So when we applied, you know, the pandemic had just hit because we had to apply in 2019, essentially.
Yeah.
And so that the pandemic slowed everything down for everybody. Nothing was open. You know, you have to get background check, fingerprints done. You know, there's a whole process. And during that time, you couldn't go to a police station and they do a fingerprint test, and you couldn't go to the FBI. You couldn't do none of that. The beauty of it is, you know, we stayed diligent because we wanted to get our license, right?
Yeah.
So the Department of Ag folks there, shout out to them. They really did a phenomenal job at helping me navigate through that, right? They knew the problems that we were facing. They knew it was going to be some challenges. They literally got involved with helping to find locations that, you know, you can go do the fingerprint, do the backgrounds, do this, do that. They worked closely with me on all the proper documentation and everything we needed. And ultimately, we were able to make it happen. But, you know, we stayed diligent and we didn't give up on the process. And ultimately, that's how we ended up being one of the first ones, because nobody else was willing to go through that.
Yeah.
You know, that
all those
test,
loopholes and speed bumps.
Right. All those speed bumps. Right. So it was really challenging, and it was more challenging because of the pandemic. But one of the things I want to say, there's some legislation right now where they're looking at allowing people with criminal backgrounds to be able to get a license. And we really support that legislation, because I believe that, you know, anyone should have an opportunity to become a farmer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And regardless of whether it's tomatoes, potatoes, chickens, or hemp. And, you know, we're part of agriculture, right? So you're not going to not allow a person to grow corn because they got a criminal record. So you should allow them to grow hemp if they got a criminal record, if they did their time, right? Because the same person that's doing their time and did their time, they could go right now and buy stock in a company that sells federally illegal marijuana. Because marijuana is still illegal federally on the federal level. But yet you could buy stock in it on the stock exchange and still get sent away to prison for it, right? Yeah. It's a major hypocrisy. But, you know, the folks here in Georgia just really did a great job working with us and helping us, and they still do a wonderful job to help us any way we can. And all of that has helped us grow our company. And that's why, you know, we were the first ones to become Georgia grown certified as a hemp company. And so we carry their logo on everything we do. And, you know, it's been an interesting ride, a great ride, and we're having fun doing it. But, you know, all those roadblocks that we face, we just kick them out the way and keep going. We don't allow roadblocks to stop us. We go over them, around them, or bust through them.
I love it, man. And that's the way. And that's why we want to have these conversations so people can hear them and see them, because they need to know that, especially it doesn't matter what kind of business you're doing. They need to know, hey, you're going to hit some roadblocks, but just run through them.
Absolutely.
You're going to hit a speed bump. You know, it might slow you down, but don't stop.
That's right.
That's right. And I want to say this too. How many jobs, or ask this, how many jobs have you guys been able to create from this dream? Because it seems like it's so many different levels of it.
Yeah. So you have in the layers that we have, you have the farming aspect, which you have laborers who primarily work there during the seasons when you're doing preparation for your fields. They are there when you are doing, when you need to do your planting, when we're using those machines to lay beds and rows and things like that. And then they come back at different times to do maintenance at the farm. So that could be a team of, 10, 20 people or more, but that's a more of an intermittent job. That's a kind of a, not just seasonal, but intermittent. It's not something that you have to have that many people there every day for. So at our production facility, post-harvest production and pre-roll production facility, at any given time, we have about 25 people that we staff there. That doesn't include the dispensary store in Atlanta, nor the dispensary store here. So yeah, in total, over the course of the year for where we are now, probably about 30 to 35 total people. And this coming year, once the season starts and with some of the other expansion that we're doing that we'd love to talk about now, that'll be 40, 50 people in probably the next 30 to 45 days or more.
That's crazy, man. I gotta hit the hype bell for that, because you're giving people opportunities to make money, and you know what happens when we don't have those opportunities. We're gonna find out a way, and sometimes that way will land you with a police record, right? So we appreciate what you guys are doing, man. Right now, if you just tuned in with the Green Toad Hemp Farm, brother Reec, brother Hirsch are on here right now, and of course I'm Reec too, not to be confused. We're talking about their business a little bit. What are some of the things, and I want to talk about the dispensaries next, but what are some of the things that have surprised you guys on this journey that maybe you want to talk about, or maybe a story that may the listeners will want to hear?
I can start that. I don't really think of it as a surprise to me as much as a surprise to other people. But, I'm from Chicago, and in Chicago, most people don't think that you could do something like this in the South, in the Deep South, in a place that you've been, in a place that you knew nobody, had no friends, didn't know anybody. And most people didn't think that something like that could happen. And a lot of people flat out discouraged against it. Like, hey, man, you're going down there, you don't know what's going on, all these people and there's different things. But that has probably been the thing that surprised other people the most, is that we haven't had anything from that, any pushback in any way that's threatened our ability to be here. In fact, it's been more supportive than most people could even imagine from the city, the state, the local political leaders, people from both parties. Have visited here, both state and national elected officials. So that part and the surprise, I guess, of not having that type of opposition on any level, especially in Chicago, if you're trying to open up a snow cone stand, you're gonna have to answer and pay strip to somebody. It's just like town. So
that's just the cost of business.
That was a surprise for me, is not having more help than opposition.
Right, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know Reec probably has some too. You jumping into this thing, and then you guys really get the roll, and then a pandemic happens, and like you kind of already addressed it. You push through every single thing, but when we're starting to come out of this, and you got these dispensaries open, and for those who don't know, a dispensary is a store, basically a store that you're able to sell your products at, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And when we started, it was the height of the beginning of the pandemic, so nothing was open really. We had purchased the 2 buildings at our post-harvest facility. We had to renovate that, and we had to get supplies for that. We had to build out the farm. So you can imagine how challenging that was, not, with businesses not open that would supply us the products. But,
and getting supplies for the renovation. Yeah.
Right. We probably infused or spent, more than $250,000 into the community by itself, coming into here. And the community has blessed us for that support, by supporting us and our brand. And, Dwayne was spot on. The surprise, not so much to us, but people really was amazed. How could y'all go into South Georgia in red territory and do what you do?
At that level too.
The people here has treated us like family and has bent over backwards to support us in every way possible. I mean, our neighbors was the ones that put the AC systems in everywhere.
Wow.
You know,
man.
did all our electrical wiring, did all our concrete work. You know, it's like just one giant community of people that just really supports you if you come in with good intentions and really doing something to help build the community. And, you know, it's been a great experience overall.
Man, I know that does something for your psyche. It's like you like, hey, I'm trying to do something positive. I'm going to support you. And then they come back in and support you the right way. That has to do something to change what you're thinking. And then sometimes what we catch on media, they'll make you think that everybody's against everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big myth. And when you come here, you'll find out how big a myth that is. And you can report back to your listeners about, you know, just, you know, the idea of whether, somebody doesn't have to really like you. They don't have to come up and celebrate your presence. Just stay out of the way when you're trying to do what you're trying to do.
Trying to progress.
That sometimes is enough. But then you come and people are actually engaged and say, hey, you came here to do that? Well, we don't help you. And so instead of giving us a fine for putting a sign on the top of our building when we first bought it in town, they brought us in the office and started to offer us incentives for being here. Here, if you get the sewer work done, you can get this much money. And we were standing there looking at each other like, you gotta be kidding me. Usually it's, hey, you gotta pay the fine, then you gotta buy somebody's campaign tickets and all that.
Support this church because somebody.
None of those sneers and jeers either. None of that. You know, none of that. We got great relationships with the sheriff's department, the police officials. We participated in the Christmas parade, the Blooming Festival, which is coming up again. It's a great festival of flowers and the blooming season here in Metter, and something that people from all around the region come to. We were there last year. We'll be back there again this year. And we're members of the Chamber of Commerce, and we've done presentations from the Rotary Club and other people here to make sure that the town really understands what we're doing. And we don't come in with a sense of unfair entitlement. Nobody owes us anything.
Right.
We came here to get it all. We didn't come to ask for it. We came to get it all.
You know, it was one of the most interesting experiences we had, Dwayne and I, was when we spoke to the Rotary Club. A room full of folks. Nobody looked like us, right? I mean, a packed room full of folks. Most of them were either business people from here to Savannah, attorneys and judges. And we're talking to these folks about growing weed and all of that stuff, right? And I'm telling you, these folks pretty much gave us a standing ovation.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can imagine that was one of those experiences, like, you know, y'all probably looked at each other like, we got it now. I like it.
They accelerate confidence and they validate you in ways that the doubts of other people cannot overcome. You know what I mean? So, you know, we got people that doubt whether or not we should have came down here. We should have done it. Should you be in that business? What the hell is wrong with y'all? You moved on to a farm, and you know, and neither one of us had any experience doing any of this stuff.
Wow.
Now we're driving, we jumped out of suits and on the tractors and building and painting and falling and hurting ourselves and brush fires and all kind of stuff. And people are like, man, what's wrong with y'all? But the validation of those and then the meeting that's waiting for us outside this room, those validations are serious because they let us know not only were we right to do what we did, but it's the thing that allows us to stay in front as the leaders in it, because we approach it and we take it to places that other people are afraid to have that conversation.
We appreciate you for it.
You talk to the president of the United States or the governor of your state about how this industry really can be shaped in the state from an economic standpoint and job development.
Yeah.
If you can articulate that, then they might appreciate your positions better. And that's
right
how we do it, right? Because for us, it's always been corporate. This is not a mom and pop shop done well. This was built to be corporate, Fortune 500 from the start.
Yeah. And
a brand that everybody in this country at some day will recognize. Out the corner of your eye and in the middle of your sleep at night. When you hear the jingles on TV one day.
Yeah, that H is gonna be just like that big golden M. That H is gonna be kind of the same way. I can see it now. I see the color coordination already. Hey man, I know you got some big things outside the door that you need to get to. I don't want to hold you guys up too much longer. I do want to do this. Where can people go online to check you guys out, or where are the dispensaries if they're in town in Georgia that they can check you guys out?
All right, so we'll start with the store in Atlanta. And if you come in the store and you say that you saw this interview on Reec Radio, we're going to give you 1 free Delta 8 terpene pre-roll. Any flavor you choose, you can have it. Okay. Matter of fact, if you want a moon joint, you can have one of those too, so you can try that. That'll be along with the other with the purchase you make, of course.
See, look at me making y'all's weekend. No, I'm saying.
Now that's it. The address is 825 McDaniel Street. It's inside the Floyd Plaza, so you'll be able to go next door to the Pyramid Grocery, grab you a couple of blunts if you need them, or some Gatorade or whatever you need. But you can come right in our store and get everything you need for your health and daily wellness, along with good smoke, if that's what you need. To find us online, you can go to www.thegreentoad, TOAD, hemp, HEMP.com. And you can shop from a wide variety of products there. We use priority mail shipping. And I think it's free on shipping over $99. And you guys can go at it and have a great day and experience these products for yourself. We are the only hemp farm that is Georgia grown certified, and that seal is carried on all of our products.
Wow, that's great, man. Let me hit that bell again. Y'all are all the way legal, all the way ready, and that's the Green Toad Hemp. Make sure that Green Toad Hemp Farm. Let me not leave out the farm. I'll be coming to visit soon. I want to check out the operation. I don't partake, but I love good business, and that's definitely what you guys are doing.
Look at him. Yes, we're playing.
Now I know you from Chicago for real. There we go. Nah, you guys are a great partnership. We appreciate the time that you spend in enlightening our audience of what you do. Well, we definitely appreciate the gift that you just gave to everybody. Please go visit their store, support them. I do have one quick question, because I know a friend of mine that was trying to get into that business, and they were doing it online, and they were having some issues with shipping because it had to go over a state that wasn't legal yet, or maybe had to travel through a state that hadn't got there. I guess they haven't caught up to what's really going on out here yet. So how does that work?
There's a legal document. If it's flour that they're sending and it's legally compliant, there's a letter that they can send that goes into the package when you mail it. And if a postal official or anybody were to look at the package and examine it, the letter outlines, and it's a legally recognized letter by the Department of Agriculture, and it states that what you are looking at is not illegal marijuana. This is actually legal hemp. And this is what's contained. So that should be in any package that gets sent out that contains particularly the smoke products, vapes, and or pre-rolls or packaged flour.
I love it. Them boys, when I say boys, I mean that in the you know, they know their stuff. I love it, man. It's said out of love and endearment, man. I appreciate it. Thank you guys once again for joining us. Thank you for the gift that you're giving our audience. Make sure you guys check it out. I hope you have a great meeting. Can't wait to meet you guys in person. And if you ever think about getting into the egg farmer business, I know a couple of things now. Through this
hey, you know, they use, in some places, they use the hemp stalk to create for chicken feed.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So,
I've seen
you know, if you ever want to test it, we got plenty of stalk that you can grind up.
CBD eggs, buddy.
There we
That's
go.
right.
Right. Yeah, my chickens walking around real slow. I can't wait. No, I'm just kidding.
It will quicken.
There we go.
And we're going to be doing our manufacturing company. Once we got a bunch of equipment we purchased from China that's coming in, and we're going to be doing the ribbon cut for the manufacturing division, and nice. We'll let you know when that event's going to happen. So we encourage anyone that wants to come out to Metter and see that, they're welcome to come.
I can't wait. All right, you guys. I'm not gonna hold you any longer. We appreciate you joining us. This has been a Reec Show live, broadcasted live from Media Campus West, and of course, man, somebody wrote it down. One giant leap ahead for the Leafs. All right, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.